So what is up, everybody? It is Tuesday. It is April the 7th. It is day 12 of my campaign for financial awareness during the COVID-19 pandemic. And as you can see, I have been home for about 4 weeks with periodic trips outside to get the things I need. I need a haircut. Cannot do that. So deal with the shag. By the end of April, it's going to be a lot worse, unfortunately. So shout out to my boys at Elevated Barbers. I wish I could go there and get my hair cut, but sadly, we got to stay home and follow the rules so we can get over this. So today, what I'm going to be talking about is being broke. So over the course of the last about 3 weeks or so, during this pandemic, as it's stepped up and gotten worse and worse, and people's financial situations have gotten worse and worse, I've seen two things. I've seen a lot of unity, a lot of people coming together, a lot of people helping out, saluting our frontline workers, whether they be manufacturers that need to stay to help us live our lives, obviously grocery store workers, postmen and women, obviously the big ones, the healthcare workers, doctors, nurses, PSWs, respiratory therapists who are actually, they're calling people out of retirement to help out. Like, this is an amazing thing, and a lot of people saluting them. You see the trucks driving by, honking and whatnot, and it's an amazing thing. It's really cool to see people rally behind this, and I'm very happy and excited about that. I see the sense of community that people have. Another thing I've also seen is a lot of whining, a lot of people whining about what's going on. One thing I know I'm guilty of is not being happy about being stuck inside. That sucks. It sucks for everyone. It's wearing on me mentally. I know that for sure. I'm a social guy. I like to get out. I like to do things. But not being able to go outside is a huge one. The big thing that people are whining about is money. Money, 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 money. And that's what this campaign is about. That's what I'm trying to do, is help people get their money organized. And today, if anyone knows me, they know I go on rants. I'm a ranter. I like to rant. I'm very opinionated. I have lots of strong opinions about lots of things, and when I have an opinion, I go with it, and I go with it pretty hard. And today I'm going to go on a bit of a rant, and the reason why is because one thing I'm getting quite sick of is people actually complaining about the financial situation right now. And the reason being is not because it's not tough. Yes, it's tough. It sucks. It's friggin' terrible. It's terrible all of a sudden you have a job and then the next day you don't. And we're talking about like a third of the population or 20%, whatever the number may be. 1 point whatever million people are applying for benefits right now, EI and whatnot. And yeah, they should get it. And that's why I provide all the links to get the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit or to apply for EI. That's why I provide all these links. And that's why I'm happy that the government's doing it. But at the same time, though, does it suck? Yeah, but what sucks more is the fact that we're in a position that we haven't taken care of our own financial houses. Right now, this $2,000 that the government's going to be giving you for a monthly basis over the course of the next 4 months is supposed to be a bridge to take care of your essentials. It's not supposed to actually make you live the life that you should be living. The government is not here to make you live the life that you should be living. That's your job. It's your job to actually take care of yourself and put yourself in a position to live the life you want to live. So for me, one thing that is actually bothering me about this situation is that people are actually complaining about what the government's giving out, even though our government's actually being fairly generous, in my opinion. And these are benefits that I technically don't qualify for. I'm very fortunate that I can work from home, but ultimately for me, I've put myself in a position. Just 3 years ago, I would have been laid off like everyone else, and it would have hurt not having that income coming in. That $2,000 would pale in comparison to what I was actually making as a bartender. So for me, that would have sucked. But I also knew that that job was finite. I also knew I could lose it at any given time. So I wanted to make sure that I was in a position where I could take charge of my life and make sure I wasn't at the control of anyone else. Now, did I know the coronavirus pandemic was coming? Of course not. I didn't know that. What I also didn't know was that this would last 6 months, possibly, or even a year. We don't know. Restaurants might be closed for a while. People's places of work, wherever it may be, might be closed for a while. I'm guessing that I'm not going to be able to work in my office at a regular pace until the fall, probably. That's my guess. But I got to adapt now. I got to change how I work and how I live to go with the circumstances. Now, the biggest thing about it, if you're getting $2,000 from the government with this emergency relief package, and you have an emergency fund as well, then you're in good shape. If you don't have an emergency fund or emergency savings, then you're not in good shape. So is it the government's fault that you don't have an emergency fund? Is it? No, it's not. It's not the government's fault that you're broke. It's your fault that you're broke. And what my goal is to actually help people understand that my life dramatically changed when I started to realize that the problems I had with money were my fault and no one else's. And I think it's time that people understand that. And one thing that I'm getting very sick of is that people start bitching about what's going on right now in terms of government benefits, looking for someone to blame because of the financial situation you're in. I don't hear much complaining about people who have fully stocked emergency funds. They are pissed, yes. They have to dip in them. They're not happy about that. But they're not bitching about, oh, it's only $2,000 from the government, or it's only 50% of my income, or I'm only getting an extra little bit of this, right? So what I want people to understand is that if you want to live a basic life, you're going to have basic things. If you want to live an extraordinary life, you have to do extraordinary things. And if you want to not be broke, then you have to stop being broke. That is your job to do. It's no one else's job. It's not the government's job to help you not be broke. It's their job. Well, in all reality, it's not even their job, but we're very lucky that we live in a country that takes it upon themselves to make it their job to actually look out for their citizens. In terms of healthcare, in terms of social services that help people, mothers or fathers or parents, education, stuff like that. Our government doesn't need to do that. And you don't need to look too far to see governments that don't do that. Just go 200 miles down the road to America in Michigan right now or New York State, and they're not getting the benefits that we're getting right now. So if we're complaining about what we're getting here, imagine you're living in Michigan right now, where the outbreak is much, much worse, or New York State, where is the epicenter of the whole world right now, and you're complaining about what we're getting here. Ultimately, your success is predicated on what you do to get yourself successful. And the biggest thing that I learned in my life is that I didn't like being broke, so I decided to stop being broke. So what I had to do is actually take control of my money, take control of my finances, and stop blaming other people for it. And that was the big thing that changed my life, was when I actually realized that my success was predicated on how I actually handle it, how I handle my money, how I handle my life, the choices that I make to make my life better. And as of right now, we have Justin Trudeau jumping on the mic. And in all reality, I voted for Justin Trudeau, but he's not going to change my life. He's not going to make my life better. I didn't vote for him for me. I voted for him because I figured he would be the one that would help the people that need the help when they need the help. That's why I voted for him. And I knew one of those people wasn't me. In fact, he actually does not help me that much. But I don't count on the government to help me. I vote Liberal because I know people that need help, and when they need help, I want our government to be there, and the Liberal Party has a consistent record of doing that. The Conservative Party does not, and that's why I don't vote for them. But I don't vote for myself. In fact, the Liberal Party might actually hurt me. But I know for a fact that my success isn't predicated on that. So one thing I want to jump into right now, and I'm going to end this with a market update as opposed to starting it with a market update, because I feel this video here is an important one to watch. So I'm going to jump into this, and this is my buddy Dave Ramsey. So Dave Ramsey is an interesting character. A lot of people love Dave Ramsey. So whatever people got to say about Dave Ramsey, and I mean, I am about 95% of the way with him. I believe in Dave Ramsey. I think Dave Ramsey's great. I believe his 7 baby steps are a fundamental way to get out of debt, to get yourself to financial freedom. I believe in that because his steps 1 through 4 or 1 through 3 are the ones that I followed, not knowingly, to get myself in that position. When I finally got myself with an emergency fund and all my debt gone, I looked back at what I did, and then I came across Dave Ramsey and saw what his baby steps were, and that was exactly what I did. So I know it works firsthand. It definitely works. And the people that knock it don't do it. That's the biggest issue. Where I don't agree with Dave all the time is I'm not religious, so I'm not big on that. He also doesn't advocate using credit cards. I use credit cards mainly because it helps me organize my business a bit better. I'm not in a position where I'm stacking cash like Dave Ramsey, so I can't dip into my $1 million bank account at any given time. I don't have that, so that's the goal. But what I do believe in is about almost everything he says. And when he is harsh, he's harsh for a reason, because the circumstances are dire. It's a dire situation. And he goes over that in this video here, and I want people to watch this because it's an important one. And he kind of goes off on Rant, and it's a classic Dave Ramsey rant. So I think we should all just quickly take a look at it and go over it. And I'll pause for effect in between and sort of give my commentary on it.
If you want to win with money, let me give you a good idea. Figure out what most people are doing and run in the other direction. Run in the other direction. Most people are broke. Most people look good, and they're broke. They spend more than they have coming in. They don't act their wage. They don't live on a plan. They don't agree on spending with their spouse. Their only hope for retirement is that the government, which is well known for its ability to handle money, will take care of them. They don't have money set aside for emergencies. They run credit card debt and student loans and car debt all day, every day. They spend like they're in Congress. Most people are stupid when it comes to money.
So here's what's funny about what Dave Ramsey says. So he says about 75% of people or 70% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. If this past month with this COVID crisis has taught us anything, is that there's so many people on the brink of going broke. It's unbelievable. One paycheck was missed by people, and they were already talking about a rent strike. One paycheck. If you can miss one paycheck and you can't make your rent, that is a huge, huge issue. Now, does that mean you're a bad person? No, it doesn't. Does it mean that you've made bad choices? Not necessarily. But that doesn't mean that you've made good choices. Just because you haven't made bad choices doesn't mean you have made good choices. You've just made choices. You need to actually make good choices to actually get yourself out of that position. If missing one paycheck is what puts you under, there's a huge, huge problem. And we can go around blaming whoever we want to blame for that. And I'm not one to say that, okay, the government is not at fault with any of this, or our employers, or our landlords. Yes, there's a system of things that make it tough for you. But that system of things that make it tough for you is also navigatable. You can look through it. You can get through it. And if you can't get through it, that's on you. Other people find their way through it. And if you can't find your way through it, that's on you. That's on no one else. Okay? So ultimately, the numbers are the numbers. If you don't have an emergency fund, that's on you. It's not your landlord's fault. It's not your boss's fault. It's not your neighbor's fault. It's not your parents' fault or the government's fault. That's on you. You need to find a way to get out of it. And does circumstances happen that knock you back? Yes, it does. It happened to me. When I saved my first $500, I was 25 years old, broke as hell, didn't have any money, had like $50,000 in debt. I saved my first $500. It was cash. I felt like king of the world. It took me about a month to save that up with tips and whatnot. And I lost my job. The place I worked went under. Boom. Had to use that $500 for food. It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. But did I stop? No. I went look for a new job, had to go figure it out, had to save up that $500 again, got knocked back. You got to do it. So where people get really upset with Dave is because of his tone. And ultimately what people need to understand is that his tone there's a reason behind it. It's because there's a seriousness behind it. Again, if missing one paycheck knocks you back for a loop, there's a problem. Does that mean you're a jerk? No, it doesn't mean you're a jerk. It doesn't mean you're an idiot. It doesn't mean anything. All it means is that you have a problem. And is that a serious problem? Yes, it's a serious, serious problem, okay? So when you hear Dave's tone, That's why he has that tone. Okay, so let's just continue on.
70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. The bankruptcy rate is at an all-time high, and foreclosures are rising again. Credit card debt continues to climb, and we have $1 trillion in student loan debt out there. The average car payment in America today now is $496 over 84 months. That's stupid.
So that part there was interesting, right? Because the average car payment. So I sit down at people's kitchen tables and they show me their budget. Actually, I make them do a budget because most of the time people just don't do a budget. And even when someone like Dave, a millionaire, proclaims you need to do a budget, there's a reason behind that. Because if you don't know where your money is going, you don't know what you have. And the amount of money I see people wasting on car payments is unbelievable. There is no reason why anyone should spend $400 to $800 a month on a car payment. That is way too much. Way too much. If you can't knock that payment down to something that's reasonable, then you shouldn't be getting that car. Let's just make it simple, okay? Buy a used banger till you can actually afford something better. Because if I need this car for work. Well, yeah, you may need that car as transportation for work, but you don't need that particular car, okay? There's cars that you can get that will actually be reliable and are used, and you can actually get that done. In terms of student loans, yes, people complain about the student loan situation, and I am of the ilk where I believe that post-secondary education should be free. I believe that. I had to pay off my student loan, and even if they gave debt forgiveness today, even though I paid off my student loan and all that, I would be happy for that. It's not something I would be resentful for. I think post-secondary education should be free. But until we get to that point, a student loan is not anyone's fault but your own. No one put a gun to your head and said, go to school. No one put a gun to your head and say, take out this loan. No one put a gun to your head and said, don't work over the summer to pay it off. No one put a gun to your head and said, don't work part-time during the school year to pay it off. No one put a gun to your head and said, take out the line of credit as well. No one put a gun to your head and said, rack off the credit card. All things that I did, okay? I did all those things. So don't tell me about how, this student loan crisis it's someone else's fault. I did those things on my own. No one put me in that pressure. Now, I believe we need legislation to move forward to not trap people in this position. But if you got trapped in this position, it's no one's fault. It's your fault. You did it. You did it. No one else did it. And you got to work your way out of it. Don't look for a bailout to get you out of it because you made the decision to get into it, okay? So this student loan crisis, to me, yeah, it sucks. I think post-secondary education should be free. And the only reason I think it should be free is because education in our society should coincide with the jobs that are needed to move our society forward. And that right now is post-secondary education. Before, you could leave high school and get a job and you'd be fine. And these people who left high school actually became teachers. Some of my teachers, when I first started in the 70s, and they didn't have university degrees. They're just high school graduates. But right now, our society needs post-secondary educated students, and that's why it's an important thing for people to go to post-secondary education, and that's why I think the government should cover that. But up to a certain point, if you want to go to a fancy school, then no. If you want to go get a fancy degree, then no. But what I think is that we need people to be covered up to the jobs that are available in our society. And if you choose not to go to post-secondary education, you're relegated to jobs that aren't that great. Sorry, that's just the way it is, okay? You got to put in the time, you got to put in the effort. So let's continue on with Dave.
It's broke and stupid. You don't want to be normal. You want to be weird. One of the greatest compliments you can get on this show is if you call up and I say, man, you're weird. I'm looking at weird people. You guys are weird, which means that you're contrary. You are a contrarian. You are perpendicular to the culture. When the culture has lost its way, the best thing you can do is be opposite. Figure out whatever they're doing and do the other thing, right? Because you're only going to get what they're getting when you do what they're doing. This is not hard to figure out. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. You do reap what you sow. You live in a cause and effect world, baby. There's no way around this. So your goal, when I went broke, I realized my goal is to be weird. My goal is to be different. And personal finance is 80% behavior. It's only 20% head knowledge.
So I'm going to end it at that, because this video, he actually rants on for a good like 10, 11 minutes. And my big thing about it that people need to understand is that when Dave speaks, one, you can't refute what he's saying. It's true. It's absolutely true. If you don't think it's true, it's because you have some sort of bias within you that makes you angry about your own position in life. So we need to take control of the situation. Now, if we've lost our jobs during this time, I give the links for this because I believe everyone should reach out and get the help that's needed to actually figure out this situation. But I also believe that we should take this time while we have this downtime to figure out our own finances, get them in order, so that when this happens again, and it will happen again, if it's not this, it'll be something else. It'll be something in your own personal life, or it'll be something greater like another recession like 2008, or the place you work goes under, or you get sick. This is going to happen. It's going to happen all the time. And don't talk to me about, oh, well, I wasn't, like, I lived 12 years sick as a dog with no remedy, no source of income that was stable because of my health. And that is something that, for me, I take very seriously. And that's another reason why I vote the way I vote, because I believe that healthcare should encompass everything, including pharmacare, including dental. But at the same time, what I want people to understand is that these are just, if that's what makes you crumble, then what else is going to make you crumble? We need to actually get ourselves into a position where we're taking care of what needs to be taken care of in our life. And that's why I provide these resources. And it's not because I haven't been there, because I have been there. I don't want to be there again. And what Dave said, he's like, well, I've been broke. I don't want to be broke. I didn't want to be broke anymore. I didn't want to lose a job and then be screwed. And since that place that I worked that went under when I had my first $500, 3 more jobs closed down that I worked at over that time. Over an 8-year period, 3 jobs left me without job. And each time I recovered and kept going, recovered, kept going, recover and kept going. So I found one that was super stable where I could actually stack some money and keep going and then build up savings. So then I could actually change careers. This was a 12-year journey. 12-year journey. And now I'm at the point where this COVID-19 pandemic, it sucks. It's going to change my business forever. But I think it's an opportunity for me to change my business for the better, to become more technologically savvy. I still have income coming in, and I'm very thankful for that. But I've earned that. I've earned that. I've built my business, and I've built myself to a position where something like this can't affect me as bad as it could affect others. And I worry for those that it is affecting. I want them to get the help that they need, but also I want people to prosper, and I want them to start thinking about their futures and thinking about themselves so they can actually weather this storm better next time, as opposed to it completely breaking you. People talking about rent strike, that's so short-sighted. You're kicking the can down the road. You're not going to pay your rent now so you can owe $6,000 later when they open up evictions again. What are you doing? You're giving people bad information. Why would you do that when instead you can show people how to save money, so when something like this happens, yes, go get the government benefits that you're entitled to, but also weather the storm and come out of it on top. Learn a language while you're in quarantine. Get closer with your kids. Teach your kids, because they're not in school right now. Go for walks with your kids. Actually get physically fit. Enjoy yourself. Make sure you're organize something. Take a class, an online class. You could be taking these 2-3 months. But the problem is that we're so financially scarce right now that we're going through a period where we don't know what to do in terms of taking care of our day-to-day. So what I want people to do is I want people to check out my post here. And this is a post I wrote back in 2018. It's about stop living paycheck to paycheck. And if you could stop living paycheck to paycheck, you'll change your life for the better. Ultimately, that is your way to actually get to financial freedom. If you can actually look and build up a surplus on a monthly basis, something like this won't affect you as much. So stop anticipating payday. That's a huge one. People look at payday like they won the lottery. You didn't win the lottery. You earned that money. You earn that money. That's your money. You earned it. You need to take care of your obligations. Payday isn't a lottery winning. Payday is actually a tool for you to move forward and build up your surplus, take care of your obligations, and a little bit enjoy your life. That's what it is. If you are focused on Friday for when you get paid, then you are in bad shape. You cannot focus on payday, folks. Payday should be utilitarian. You need to track your spending too, and that's why I keep giving people the combo expenses worksheet. So I'll show you it once more again. Combo expenses worksheet. I'm going to put the link in the bio one more time so you can have that. But yeah, track your spending. You have to track your spending. If you don't know where your money's going, you're not going to be able to weather these storms. And then when something like this happens, you can't pivot and change and slash things. Right now, people are scrambling to do a budget to see what's essential. They should already know what's essential. And if you don't know what's essential, figure it out now, because now's the time when less money's coming in, so you can actually knock the things out of your life, get used to not having them, and then move forward with a plan. Go point, no problem in not doing something. Like, I'm the kind of guy, I love going out with friends and going to gatherings and going on trips and outings and stuff like that. But if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And your mom would always say, well, if people are not going to be your friend, or people are lose you as a friend because of something like that, they never were your friend. Well, mom was right. If people don't understand that you're trying to take care of your financial house, then that's their fault. Not yours. Has nothing to do with you. They're not paying your bills. So why do you care what they think? So go ghost. There's nothing wrong with going ghost. Booze, that's a big one. I mean, that's one I have an issue with. I like to have a cocktail after work. And if you have a cocktail after work at a bar or at a restaurant or at a cafe or whatever it may be, that costs money, right? So you can't do that for free. And I know that's a huge problem. But if you can't afford it, then don't do it. Ultimately, if all you can afford is a magnum of wine, and that's when I was at my brokest, all me and my girlfriend could afford was a magnum of wine on a Friday night, and we'd sit there and we'd drink it and we'd get nice and toasty, but that was only $20, and that's all we could afford. That's literally all we can afford, and that's what we did. So if you can't afford it, you can't do it. There's a lot of people who can't afford the outings that they go on all the time. Dining out's a huge one. We are all living without restaurants right now. We are all living without dining out. And from a guy who worked in the restaurant industry for 15 years, the markup is insane. It's insane. And do I like to go out and... I personally don't like going out to eat. I don't. What I do like going out to do is have a cocktail with friends and relax and have a social outing. Me, I personally don't like going out to eat. I'd rather cook my own food, to be totally honest. I know it sounds weird, but I would rather cook my own food. But people blow absurd amounts of money dining out. Absurd amounts of money dining out. If you're spending $200 a week dining out, that means you're spending $10,000 a year dining out. 10 grand. Tell me you don't have money to save. Can you afford that? Probably not. Probably not. And if being stuck in quarantine is showing you how much money you're saving, that means you were dining out too much. Hopefully that hasn't transitioned into Amazon. That's my hope. Earn more money. And this is one that earning more money is so important. So important. People always take this for granted. They always think like, okay, well, I work a job, so I deserve X. A 9-to-5 doesn't guarantee you anything. What a 9-to-5 guarantees you is a roof over your head and food in your belly. That's it. And I'm talking about minimum wage 9-to-5. Minimum wage 9-to-5 is enough to put a roof over your head, and not a good one, and food in your belly, and not good food. That's all it guarantees you. Now, if you get more of an income, you can get more of a life, or a better place, or better food, or more outings, or a car. Because if you are at 9-to-5, you cannot expect your life to actually be extraordinary. You cannot. So what do you need to do? You need to earn more money. Okay, how do you earn more money? You need more skills, or you need to work more. It's simple math. You need a higher paying job, or you need to work more hours. That's it. And that's why when I was struggling to get out of that, for me, I was working 60, 70 hours a week. People are like, well, no one can work that much. Yeah, I did. I worked every day. I worked 3 jobs, and I coordinated them as such. So the only time I had off was Monday from till 5 p.m. So Monday morning, I didn't work, and I started work that day at 5 p.m. till midnight. That was the only day. Every other day, I was going from one job to the other, or one job to the other, right? So don't tell me about, like, it's impossible to earn more money. And then at the same time, it's like, well, I like my weekends. Okay, well, yeah, I like my weekends too. Like, who doesn't like their weekends? We all like our weekends. But don't expect to be rich by working 9 to 5. You will not. Unless you actually put in some time to earn more money at the job you have or a different job that pays you more. So what do you need to do? Okay, so you need to get more skills. So how do you get more skills? You need to learn something new. So if you're working 9 to 5 and you need more skills and you need to learn something new, when are you going to do that? Oh, after work or on the weekend. Taking a course, learning a trade, upgrading your skills. So technically, you're not working 9 to 5. You're working more than 9 to 5. So you working 9 to 5 is going to get you exactly what that gets you. An existence. If you want a better existence, you need to work more than that. And I think that's one thing that has people completely lost in the world that we live in right now. People think that just having a secure job is going to get you what you want out of life. Quite possibly. But that job would mean more pay. And more pay means you need to earn that more pay. You don't just fall into a job paying you $150,000 a year. And if you did, good for you. I'm happy for you. But that's not normal. So what you need to do is actually get yourself to a position that actually allows you to have that. That's the case. That's what's going on. So earning more money is a huge one. And people take that for granted. People think that, okay, well, you know, I'm going to work 8 hours a day and it's going to turn out okay. Yeah, you're going to be living paycheck to paycheck. And let's all just say that's a fact. We cannot. And if you want to, you know, argue with me on it, then show me your budget. Show me your budget, right? Last one here, avoid traps. Well, not the last one. Avoiding traps. So paycheck to paycheck is a zone of bad decisions. A lot of people, a trap, credit card. So racking up a credit card, that's a trap. Payday loans, that's a trap. Going on a vacation you can't afford, that's a trap. You need to actually focus on things that could hurt you in the long run. So zero money down on something, that's a trap. Zero money down, but payments start in a year, or 12 months free, or 18 months free, blah, 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 Leon's, Tepperman's, wherever you may get your furniture, or whatever it is, that's a trap. Because are you going to be saving the money or paying that off during that 18 months? I don't know. Will you? Probably not. And that's why they do it. Because the interest on the day the payments start is accrued over that time. So instead of owing the $5,000 in 18 months, you owe $5,500, $5,700, $6,000, whatever it may be. So avoid traps. And this is how you avoid them, is by actually saving for the things that you need. Saying no, that's a huge one. So Warren Buffett said, successful people have one thing in common. They say no to almost everything. Everything. So you got to be able to say no. Thank you, Paul. Good to see you on IG Live. Yeah, just say no. Just say no. You're not here to impress anyone. Impress yourself with your bank account. Impress yourself with your investment returns. Impress yourself that way. And you got to adjust your attitude. So this is one that actually really, really boggles my mind. Although I'm a left-wing person, I'm not a leftist. I'm a capitalist through and through. And one of the things that people always say that are uber left-wing is that money is the root of all evil, or capitalism is evil and we should go to a socialist society. I believe in social democracy. I don't believe in socialism. The big thing about it for me is that I believe we are a wealthy country and we should take care of the people that need to be taken care of, but everyone else can figure it out on their own. And if you can't figure it out on your own, you're relegated to that life. Is there bad luck? Yes, there's bad luck. And I hope we can help people when they come through a string of bad luck. But beyond that, if your bad luck is your whole damn life, and you can't hold a job and you can't do this or you can't do that, then that's your own fault. And I have no sympathy for people like that. So in my opinion, we need to adjust our attitude from money is the root of all evil or money is bad to money is a tool that we're going to use to make our life better. It's just money. And what we need to understand is that when you have this attitude that money is evil, or I'm just going to spend this money because it's just money, it doesn't exist or whatever, blah, 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 that's broke people talk. And broke people justify their situation in life by that. So if you don't want to be broke, you got to adjust your money attitude. You got to want to acquire more. You got to want to care more about your future, your financial situation. You got to change that mindset. The world isn't against you. Money is not against you. You haven't navigated through it. So we need to figure out a way to navigate through it. And how you do that is by adjusting your attitude. And that was when I walked into the Bank of Montreal and tried to figure out how to open up a savings account because I didn't know what the hell I was doing and I owed a ton of debt and I wanted to see who I owed money to, because I didn't even know who I owed money to. It was collection agencies, all this crap. I was 26 years old, and I'm like, okay, all the stupid things I did in my late teens and early 20s, I had to fix at that time. And that was the day where it's actually, okay, I got to take control of this. I adjusted my attitude. The whole world didn't put me in debt. I put myself in debt. And that was the big thing about it. So ultimately, you got to adjust your attitude or you're not going to succeed in this. Now, I talk about making more money. I'm also going to include this post, 15 side hustles that can build your bankroll. 15 side hustles. So some of these side hustles don't exist right now. I warn you. One of them is working at a restaurant or being a barista, whatnot, that kind of thing. But these 15 side hustles don't or will help you build more money. And during this time, you should be thinking about figuring out how to make more money, because if you're only bringing in the $2,000 a month or whatever you may be bringing in, or you're on reduced hours, which would really suck because then you may not qualify for the $2,000 a month, use your extra time to focus on building more of an income, getting rid of your debt. You got to use your time to do this stuff, because when we get out of this and this thing happens again, which it will happen again, you have to figure it out. You have to do that, because if you don't do it, no one's going to do it for you. And if it's not COVID-19, it's going to be your place going out of business, or you'll get sick, or your ex takes all your money, all this crap. So we need to figure out, how do we make ourselves invulnerable to things like this? Will they hurt? Yeah, they hurt, but they won't hurt as much. And that's the big thing. And Murphy, as Dave Ramsey says, is always going to come knocking. We need to make sure that we're ready for Murphy. So I'm going to include this post about 15 side hustles. I include the full Dave Ramsey video, and I want people to watch that, because honestly, people need to stop taking his words so literally and understand the message behind it. He's not calling you an idiot. He's not saying, oh, you, Dave Thompson, are an idiot. He's saying you've made idiot moves, and we need to make smart moves and smart money moves to actually get out of this situation that we're in right now. And if 70% of people in America, where he's at, and Canada's not far behind, are living paycheck to paycheck, that's a problem. That's a huge, huge problem. Okay? We're not focused on the things that are important for us. We're focused on the things that are not important for us, like making a guy like Jeff Bezos rich. Okay? That's something we need to understand. So I'm going to go quickly before we end to a market update. We're in the green. Yesterday was a big day in the market, and this is why we don't dip out of the market when it's at the bottom, because the markets yesterday jumped up and today they're up. This is all based on optimism over the past little while that the cases have crested. That may or may not be true, but we've had several days in a row of less COVID-19 cases, less deaths in places like Italy, Spain, New Jersey, New York, even Louisiana and Michigan, less cases or plateau of cases, the same amount of cases and deaths. Now, does that mean it's going to end and we stop doing what we're doing? No, we have to continue on. We have to break this cycle. We have to get the curve going down. Right now, it seems that it's plateaued. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. That's why I think the markets are actually jumping up right now, all based on optimism. Donald Trump, our orange friend to the south, has actually released 3M to trade with Canada. Thank you, Donald Trump, for actually upholding trade agreements that have existed way before you were born. So I'm very happy that he did that. I'm happy that people in our hospitals can get the masks and the ventilators that they need and paid for, and that's what I'm happy about. So thank you, Donald Trump, for actually upholding the law instead of breaking the law. I know it's a foreign subject for Donald Trump to not break the law, but thank you. Thank you for not breaking the law or breaking tariffs and agreements that have been in place for a long, long time, way before you were president and way after you will be president, hopefully in November. If we look at the overseas markets, again, yesterday we saw 3 to 4% jumps. So 3 to 4% jumps in all the European markets. Great. Today we're looking at 1 to 3% or 1-2%. Even in Brazil, 6% jumps, and that's your emerging market stocks. If we look at Asia closed around 3 a.m., and Asia's all in the positive as well. Mumbai, India, 8% jump. Now that was after yesterday where they didn't have a jump. So for them, the 8% jump is actually not including what they did yesterday, because they didn't have a massive jump like everyone else did. Everyone else in Asia was around 4 to 5% gains or 3 to 5% gains. India was around level or negative. Now we have a 9% jump in India. I think the COVID crisis is hitting India really hard right now, and they did a countrywide lockdown. So hopefully they crest and hit that curve as well. But yes, overseas markets are doing well as well. So I want people to make sure that we're not making drastic money moves in terms of our investments right now. And what we are doing is laying low, making sure that we're understanding our risk tolerance, we're understanding our investment objectives and our time horizon, and making sure that we can address these things while we're not making shifts that are going to negatively impact us, like losing out on the gains in the past few days. And I remember I've said this, that when the market actually jumps up again, it's going to jump up quick, like yesterday. And then today, if you didn't enter the market before yesterday, you missed out on a good 7% or 4 or 5% of growth, including today. Right? So you need to understand that these days are going to be big days periodically here and there, and then the rest are going to be small little mediocre days, and then there'll be big dips in one day, and then big ups in one day. So we need to understand, okay, that we're not making shifts that can make us lose out on these growth opportunities. I'm going to attach this link for the COVID or the Canada Emergency Response Benefits. So the CERB today, April, May, and June can apply. Remember, it's staggered starts. So we're doing, yesterday was January, February, March, April, May, June today, July, August, September on tomorrow, and Thursday will be the last 3 months of the year, October, November, December, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, free-for-all where anyone can apply. If you need these benefits, get these benefits. But while you're getting these benefits, it's not a shame to get the benefits that you need to pay your bills. I want everyone to do that. But let's also take this time to get our financial house in order. And you can do that by checking me out on Facebook. You can check me out on IG. If you're watching live right now, this video will be on later, probably within half an hour. And you can follow me on Twitter as well. I'm also on LinkedIn. And if you want to join my email list, you can go to my website and join the email list, or even book a time to speak to me, budgetboss.ca/contact. And again, download the combo expenses worksheet. So I want everyone to understand what my message was today. Let's stop being broke. The best decision I made in my life is to stop being broke. I was sick of it. I was sick of not being able to pay my bills. I was sick of not being able to do the things I want to do, missing out on things, and actually hurting myself by doing the things I want to do. Wanting to go out but not being able to afford it, and choosing between not doing it and being smart, or doing it and hurting myself. Now I can do it without hurting myself. Now something like this happens, it doesn't hurt me, and I want people to be in that position too. This isn't a place of resent, or this isn't a place of, I'm trying to think of the word here. It's not a place where I'm making fun of people. That's not it at all. It's a place of empathy, because I've been there. It sucks. It really sucks. So let's stop. Let's stop. Let's make the decision to get out of this. And is it hard? Yeah, but all good things are hard. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And easy is being broke, and most people are broke. So let's stop being broke. Let's make the decision to take the steps to do this. It will be hard to build up that emergency fund. It will be hard to get out of debt. It will be hard to build an investment account. It will be hard to pay off your home. It will be hard to actually make your insurance premiums every month if you're having a hard time paying your bills. It will be hard to actually save up enough for retirement. And once you get there, though, you will be rich. That's what happens. So you need to actually make the decision that we're actually stop being broke and start being rich, or be broke. Broke is easy, rich is tough. You choose, right? And that's all I'm saying about that. And I want people to get there, because that's what I'm trying to do in my life. And I hope you can. And I know you can. It's just a matter, you got to put in the work and you got to make it happen. So check out the post. Have yourself a great day, guys. Peace.